Okay, wow. This one kind of flew under the radar for me a little as we only recently received a trailer, but we have a very exciting looking horror film called No One Will Save You coming to Hulu streaming service on September the 22nd. Directed by Brian Duffield, who also made Love and Monsters, as well as the very impressive Underwater, which I thought was a solid movie, but also stars Caitlin Dever from the miniseries Unbelievable. So it's a little strange this film hasn't had much marketing that I'm aware of before the trailer, and yet we are so close to the release date for a horror movie that in my opinion looks absolutely bloody bonkers in the best way possible. With a modest budget of just 23 million, it would appear that No One Will Save You was always destined for streaming, and that's fine with me as the box office has been fairly busy for a while and it's nice to have something to look forward to that I can tune into and enjoy from home. The trailer starts like any other generic horror flick with the pretty girl who lives in a big house all alone in the middle of nowhere, which happens never. Then about 10 seconds in, the premise of the movie pops up on screen and we learn that it's another home invasion movie. I thought to myself, awesome. I really need another film about a group of teenagers breaking in and tormenting a young lonesome girl. Just as much as I need another Star Wars sequel continuing the wonderful story of Rey. But then, everything gets cranked up to 11 pretty damn quick, and a twist I certainly did not see coming. Firstly though, whatever possessed this young lady to settle into such a spacious, dark and gloomy house all by herself with, yet again, the classic and stereotypical horror thriller movie front door that is essentially just an open invitation to criminals of the lowest IQs to go ahead and break in. The wood looks shoddy, probably just a single lock on the door and easy access and smashable windows for fast entry. Have you noticed how it's like a must-have feature for every horror film? Therefore, we certainly have a premise for things to go bump in the night, and bump may well be an understatement in this film. I gotta say, if done well, I'm a sucker for loud and frantic or even slow and drawn out sounding footsteps within the haunted house setting, as it tends to play more on your fears, making you use your imagination to rationalise what you cannot see yet. Paranormal Activity used this classic horror staple to great effect inside the found footage domain, creating an unmeasurable amount of suspense for the audience. Although this movie may have a healthy dose of suspense in store for us, the trailer at least doesn't play around. I mean, what is that? This not only gave me the willies, but now we get a better sense of what type of home invasion movie we are dealing with. This very quick shot is super effective because what appears to be possibly a humanoid moving at great speed, we only see a head and part of the neck that is mostly just a fast shape and void of any distinguishable features. I think that's what unnerved me the most, as at least your average burglar would have the decency to creep in silence and not march around like they own the joint. Yes, this one is definitely different, alright. I'm all in for a slow, well-written and suspenseful build-up to a climatic horror scene or finale, and No One Will Save You may have a well-crafted opening act that makes us invest heavily in this poor lady named Bryn Adams, who for some reason decided to live alone in this crazy big house in the middle of nowhere. But regardless of that, there is something immensely jaw-dropping and disturbing about the way the trailer just doesn't give you any time to breathe. It consistently pounces on you and invades your space, leaving you no time to react as we helplessly watch Bryn frantically try and escape or hide in every encounter. There goes the door I was talking about earlier. Luckily it was made of balsa wood and left no lasting bruises on our protagonist. So as the trailer opens up to the rest of the town and events happening during the day, it becomes evident that although our star of the film may be the focus of attention for the aliens, it really is an area-wide event that has affected a lot of people. Something about this trailer reminds me of parts of Jordan Peele's sci-fi horror film Nope and A Quiet Place by John Krasinski. Maybe it's the mixture of mystery as to what is happening in and around the house and why these creatures are here, as well as the fast insect-like movements and appearance of the invaders. I also love her slightly naive yet endearing optimism as she holds fast and erects an unrelenting barricade of warm blankets covering any possible entrance into her home. Honestly, at this point the trailer becomes a shuffle of so many horrifying visuals and jump scares alongside a staggering amount of tense action scenes with implosions, explosions and even an alien spacecraft tractor beam. Oh, and you know what this shot reminds me of? Does anyone remember the 1993 film Fire in the Sky starring Robert Patrick, which was loosely based on the true events of Travis Walton? A very hard-hitting and creepy film I sorely recommend if you haven't seen it already. For me, this film completely changed my outlook on the whole alien abduction concept. I also noticed while editing the video, and you can see it more clearly in the 4K version of the trailer, a very eerie silhouette of a creature that I first thought was simply a tree, but it does move ever so slightly, resembling an Ent from Lord of the Rings. So now I really want to know what's going on. Are these beings shapeshifters? Is this film linked, or merely just a nod towards the events of Skinwalker Ranch and the mysterious history that place has accumulated over the years? Then the trailer finishes in quite a spectacular way. I still think it's bonkers and have no idea how the film is going to make sense of all these crazy images we just witnessed. I mean, that thing at the end looked like some kind of alien overlord as it rampaged through the garden with its over-the-top giant insect pincers. I think I'm more fascinated and curious to know more about these aliens and why they all look so different than I am going in looking for a few scares, you know? Well, what do you think? Are these being shapeshifters? Can they camouflage perhaps? Please let me know your thoughts and observations in the comments section, as I feel kind of bewildered by what I've just seen. Maybe some of you dislike the look of the new Hulu film, but I don't. I think it looks exciting and a little of a fresh take on the invasion abduction genre. I say little because it clearly borrows from some of the movies I mentioned earlier, but at least we're getting something new, a bit different instead of just another remake, prequel or sequel. So my verdict is, it looks fun and extremely intense. It could be a wild ride of scares with hopefully a cool little story to give the film some legs. The biggest takeaway for me is how the camera work and special effects seem to toy with our fears by not showing us enough of the intruders, and when we do see them, it's only for a split second. What makes matters worse, or better depending on how much you like to be unsettled, is that our brains cannot make sense of the purposefully muffled imagery of the creatures, leaving us in a state of shock and repulsion at what we cannot explain visually. No doubt the actual film will show us a lot more of the aliens and may even try to explain away some of their purpose for being here, I hope. But you know, I'm always torn between these mystery horrors that explain too much and the ones that don't. The problem with some of the best stories within the horror genre that keep you guessing throughout the film, allowing the mystery to remain, is that they always end abruptly, leaving you thinking, is that it? There's got to be a sequel, right? We don't know how this one will play out just yet, or whether it will set up a sequel or not. I would predict this is simply a one-off film, and that's fine because, as I said, it's very intense and anxiety-ridden, and has a touch of uniqueness to the home invasion genre and setting. Well, that's it, and thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to discussing with you guys in the comments section about what you think we can expect for this film. What predictions or anxieties do you have leading up to the release on the 22nd of September? And in the meantime, stay relaxed and take care of yourselves. Goodbye.